This episode is presented to you in the form of an audiobook.
Overthinking does not just ruin moods. It slowly ruins peace. And the scariest part? Most girls don't even realize how deeply overthinking is changing them mentally. Until they stop feeling like themselves completely. Because overthinking never enters a girl's mind loudly. It enters quietly. Through attachment. Through emotional confusion. Through caring too much. Through constantly trying to understand things that were never explained properly. And once a girl starts emotionally overthinking, her mind rarely rests fully again. That's the dangerous part nobody talks about. People think overthinking is just thinking too much. But emotionally, overthinking is mental exhaustion. It's replaying conversations at 2 a.m. It's checking messages multiple times. It's wondering why someone's energy suddenly changed. It's asking yourself, am I too much? Did I say something wrong? Why do I suddenly feel unwanted? And slowly, those thoughts start destroying emotional stability. Because girls who overthink deeply usually feel emotions deeply too. That combination becomes mentally exhausting. Especially for emotionally sensitive girls. Because emotionally aware girls notice everything. The silence. The dry replies. The delayed energy. The small changes nobody else notices. And their brain starts connecting emotional meaning to all of it. That's why overthinking ruins peace first. A girl who once felt emotionally calm starts feeling mentally restless all the time. Even during happy moments, her brain keeps searching for problems secretly. That's what emotional overthinking does. It trains the mind to expect emotional disappointment constantly. And eventually, girls stop relaxing emotionally completely. Now her mind becomes busy all the time. Thinking. Analyzing. Replaying. Questioning. Even when nothing is happening. That is emotional anxiety. And honestly, many girls hide this phase extremely well. They laugh normally. Post normally. Reply normally. While mentally, their thoughts are becoming heavier every single day. That's why emotionally exhausted girls often feel tired even after doing nothing physically. Because mental exhaustion drains energy too. A lot of it. And overthinking especially destroys emotional peace, self-confidence, sleep, focus, emotional security. Slowly, quietly, painfully. One of the saddest things overthinking ruins in girls is emotional self-worth. Because once a girl starts questioning everything emotionally, she eventually starts questioning herself too. Now she wonders, was I too emotional? Too attached? Too available? Too easy to hurt? And those thoughts slowly damage confidence. Especially when she's emotionally attached to someone inconsistent. Because inconsistency creates confusion. And confusion creates overthinking. That's psychology. Girls mentally overthink most in emotionally unclear situations. Situations where effort changes randomly. Attention becomes inconsistent. Communication feels confusing. Emotional reassurance disappears. That uncertainty keeps the brain emotionally alert constantly. And eventually, her nervous system gets tired. That's why emotionally overwhelmed girls sometimes suddenly disappear emotionally. Not because they stopped caring, but because their mind became too exhausted to keep carrying emotional stress silently. And honestly, many girls do not need more attention. They need mental peace. That's the real problem. Because overthinking girls are usually not asking for perfection. They just want emotional clarity, consistency, reassurance, safety. But when those things disappear, their thoughts become louder than reality. And once thoughts become louder than reality, peace disappears completely. That's why emotionally sensitive girls often struggle sleeping peacefully too. Because nighttime makes overthinking worse. Now the brain replays memories, imagines worst-case scenarios, creates emotional fear, reopens old pain, again and again. And eventually, girls start feeling emotionally trapped inside their own thoughts. That feeling is terrifying, especially when nobody around them understands it deeply. People usually say, just stop overthinking. But emotionally, it's not that simple. Because overthinking is often connected to emotional fear. Fear of losing people, not being enough, being replaced, getting hurt again, feeling emotionally abandoned. And those fears create constant mental tension. That tension slowly changes personality too. Now she becomes quieter, emotionally guarded, mentally tired, harder to understand, less expressive. Not because she became cold, but because her mind stopped feeling emotionally safe. And once emotional safety disappears, girls start mentally protecting themselves automatically. That's why many emotionally overwhelmed girls isolate themselves. Because silence feels safer than emotion. But isolation creates another problem. Now the girl becomes alone with her thoughts constantly. And overthinking grows even louder there. That's why healing cannot happen only through isolation. At some point, a girl must learn how to calm her mind emotionally too. Not just distract it temporarily. Because distractions never permanently heal emotional overthinking. Real healing starts when girls stop blaming themselves for everything emotionally. That changes everything. Because emotionally exhausted girls often carry responsibility for pain that was never fully theirs. They try to fix people, understand everyone, over-explain themselves, keep relationships alive alone. And eventually, their own mental peace disappears completely. That's why emotionally mature girls eventually realize something powerful. Not every emotional problem is theirs to solve. That realization reduces overthinking slowly. Because now, boundaries become stronger. Emotional standards become healthier. Self-respect becomes important. And suddenly, the mind feels lighter. Not fully healed, but lighter. And honestly, one of the most beautiful things a girl can learn is this. Peace feels better than emotional chaos. Because overthinking girls often mistake emotional intensity for love. But real emotional safety feels calm. Not confusing. Not mentally draining. Not emotionally terrifying. And once a girl experiences emotionally safe love genuinely, her nervous system changes too. Now she no longer feels the need to overanalyze everything, beg for reassurance, fear silence constantly, question her worth daily. Because emotionally healthy connections create peace, not constant anxiety. And that realization heals girls deeply. Slowly. Quietly. But beautifully.